Hi, and thank you for having us. Thank you for joining us. We're really excited to be here. So I'm Yvonne Battle-Felton, and I am joined by my lovely sister, Lorraine Battle, and by my lovely like a sister, 𝗃𝗃 𝗬𝐿𝐵𝐿. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves. And I guess I'll do a little introduction about what this event is. So this is our storytelling event, and we're going to be talking about stories and memories of Atlantic City. And that might be growing up there, living there, learning there, loving there. I mean, all the different things that we have done, or maybe wished we did while we were in Atlantic City, and the ways that kind of we're looking at creativity, but it's really about stories and memory, which for me is kind of funny because my memory is absolutely horrible. So I always write down like everything. So I will be reading my memory, but it still counts as a memory because, you know, all that informs it. But I want to thank everyone for joining us. And my one hope would be that if you were hoping that you could participate and share a story or a memory with us, please feel free to do that, because you can do it on the Facebook group in the area, and just, you know, send us one of your memories. So something that would celebrate Atlantic City, and that could be you living there, loving, working there, driving through, all those different things that, you know, make up our memory. So Lorraine and 𝗃𝗃, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you both?
I am well. Thank you so much for having this wonderful opportunity to share positive space. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you for saying yes. So, and I think it's mainly because we don't always talk about like Atlantic City in that back home, like sort of way. And I know for me, so I'm in the UK right now, and I've been doing a lot of thinking and writing about what home means to me and where actually home is. And I'm not always sure. So when I look back, because, you know, like we moved around a lot. And for me, Atlantic City, the memory of it, and Grand's house at 201 Gramercy Place, that it's not even there anymore. And I haven't gone back. I haven't been to see like the space that used to be this home that made up so much of, like, you know, our memories and our childhood. I haven't been to see that like back. So I know one of the questions I'd like to ask you, and it looks like we're going to take like, not necessarily interview form. I'm not Oprah yet.
Not yet.
Exactly, you know, not yet. But that's what I'm talking about. Like I keep saying, like I want a talk show, because you know how much I've always loved to talk.
That will come into play. Absolutely. Please, look at your face.
This is so amazing to me. So like I'm here. 𝗃𝗃, where are you at right now? Are you in? Well, yes, there is that. And you know,
right now I'm in Summers Point.
Oh my gosh. And you know, Lorraine and I, we spent a lot of time growing up in Summers Point.
Yes, yes. That's why I find it very funny that today I'm here and we're having this conference. So.
Oh, that's
also
so cool.
Memory, right?
I know. It's like if we did a memory map, it'd be like all over the places in New Jersey. And it's just interesting to me how like you all are still there and like growing families and having businesses and creating even more memories. And like, on one hand, the Atlantic City that I still remember, and I guess the one that's kind of closest to my heart, is the one that's that memory of it. But so I wanted to ask you, if you all could, I think we'll start with Lorraine and then we'll go with 𝗃𝗃. So Lorraine, can you give us one of your favorite Atlantic City memories?
That's a wonderful question. My favorite would have to be the beach. It's all about the beach for me. I actually am going to Atlantic City today. My thought process was to go to Atlantic City to do this view so that we can have some time at the beach all together. That wind up being, we're going to go later on. But my favorite memory always surrounds the beach, whether it's healing, whether it's crying. Not so long ago, with all the racial things going on in the United States, I literally went to the beach just to heal and to scream to the ocean and to allow for the ocean to absorb my tears. So it's always the beach for me.
Thank you. I'm wondering if I should mute or not unmute, because you know how like when people are talking, you tend to mute. But actually for this one, I'm kind of not going to, because I noticed when I was like, unmute, my laptop was like, no. So thank you for that. I love how you're still like, you know, exploring and going to the ocean and using that as a place to kind of restore and rejuvenate. 𝗃𝗃, can you say your favorite Atlantic City memory?
Well, I have two favorite memories. And one is you guys. So that it's always a pleasure. And and also, if it wasn't for Atlantic City, my parents would have never met. So that's very special to me as well. And I agree with Lorraine, the ocean, because it is very healing. But Atlantic City just gives me so many great memories growing up all over Atlantic City and Ventnor, which now I open my store, and I am a block from the beach. So I'm literally walking distance to the beach, which is very healing for me and for my customers. So I always send them down there to pick up shells and stones and allow the ocean to talk to them. And Lorraine, you can agree, it's a great healing experience. So Atlantic City means a lot to me for a lot of many good reasons, a lot of great memories and good friends. So I think it like rounded my life around because I'm a Big Apple girl. So coming to little South Jersey, and I just got so much out of such a small town. So, and they just redid the Lucy Elephant down in Margate.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, so you can stay there now, Yvonne. So we got a lot of good things going on. And Grandmom's house down in the inlet, they have rebuilt that area. And they're really trying to give back to the community down there. So I think that's something that you would be very proud of, you know.
I think
that they're utilizing the space great. So.
Oh, that sounds so amazing. And I love that you all get to go back and kind of like, not walk in your past footsteps, but maybe like reflect on the times that you've had and the memories you made. And it's such a great thing to be able to make more memories. And I think for me, like without reading my piece just yet, my favorite memories do involve you all too. And so it's like, I can remember, I remember like silly things like running for the jitney when like, I can't remember if they were on a schedule or it was just like, you knew when it was supposed to be coming or when it was like supposed to be coming. I don't remember, but I always remember
we had the good spot. We could see it right from Grandma's porch.
What?
I know, right? But it was only the good spot if you were already dressed. Like if you were like, it was the bad spot if you could see it coming, but you were like still getting dressed and stuff. And you're like, no,
and you're like, don't turn.
Oh my gosh. I remember running at, and you're like, wait, like it's a but I guess the weird thing too, like, and now I'm like, actually, we could have walked. Like there was really like no place.
No reason to catch the train.
But I do remember being like, oh man, and like and you miss it and you just wait for the next one. Like whatever, not even thinking like, oh, I'm going to walk to the next one. I remember Lorraine, I don't know if you remember there was a hotel a block away. So Gran's house, for people who don't know Gran, she was our grandmother and she owned one of her—
Everybody knows Gran.
I know, right? So she owned this big pink and white house on the corner of Gramercy. And there was a block away, there was a hotel. It was the Radisson, wasn't it?
It's still there. That hotel was a different name, but it's still there.
I remember working there and there was like a hurricane or something. And we did live a block away, right? But I felt like where we lived, and right, Peace, you were right, because of the view, you could actually see the water. And you could see the ocean going over the boardwalk.
Yeah.
And that was a sign I was off that day. And so it was like windy. It was rainy. It had the nerve to be windy, rainy, thunder, lightning, like everything that could be going on was going on. And I remember them being like, "Are you coming to work?" And I'm like, "Am I doing it?" Exactly. Like, do you see out there? But it was funny because it was that idea that, well, you live a block away. And I'm like, yeah, I live close enough to see what's going on. I remember not going that day. But my favorite. So if you're watching, I wasn't sick. No, I didn't even say I was sick. I was just like, no. I also remember like walking along the boardwalk. And like we were kids, and I feel like that's I need to say, like, we were kids, but I remember that there was this
disclaimer.
I know, right? I remember, do you remember this, Lori? Remember, like, so there was this tradesperson, and he was like a crafter. He was blowing glass on the boardwalk?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Down what, New York Avenue, I think it is, right?
Was it? Oh my God, is it still there?
Down there. The building is still there, but they're not doing, you know, the actual blowing outside anymore. But you can actually go in and buy, you know, the glass.
There's a lot of things that, well, with COVID, there's a lot of things they're not doing actively.
Yeah.
But the glass thing hasn't been going on for quite some time. But no, Yvonne, I do remember that. That was pretty cool as a kid to see.
It was, but it seems like that as cool as that was, and as magnificent as it was to hear, like or to watch the, like, it goes from like nothing, this piece of like glass, or like, and they look kind of like jellyish and stuff like that, and then all that work that went into it to making it into an animal, or to, like, you know, something that had like a shape. And then I remember us always asking Gran to get us a new one, to like buy us a new something. And you would think I would have like cherished these things. But I remember one of the very first things that we did, and I'm saying we, although I know I did it. And I can't remember, Lorraine, if you did it as well, but I almost feel bad because I feel like I should feel like, oh my, like these are such treasures.
I remember the cartoon person, I do. One of the panelists just asked if we remember the cartoon person, the caricaturist that would do the cartoons of all the different people. I do remember that. It just popped up on my screen.
I don't remember it. I do remember the Peanut Man, Mr. Peanut. I remember the smell of the peanut.
Not there. What is up with that? He's not there.
That used to be the, like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Really? See,
you'll be really surprised what they put in replace. And I'll share that later.
Oh no. But so back to the animals. I remember like begging and begging for these animals. And you would think we would have had like a safe place to put them because they were glass. But I do remember rushing home, and the very first thing to do was to click off their little ears and their little tails and their little paws, like anything. Anything that was like sticking out, like for some sort of, it was just like click, click. And so of course we needed a new one the next time we walked by, because the old one was like,
well, you know what they still have, Yvonne, which is they built the sand thing. They put the mermaids, they make they do all the sand sculptures on the beach. They still do that. And that's
is that
really
a competition
awesome.
Or is that always there?
Well, they used to do it as a competition, but now I think the gentleman just comes out now and they just do it, like, just, you know, for the tourists, and it's like a whole day like event that they do. Wow. It's really, really nice. Yeah.
That sounds nice. No, wait, so is the wax museum still there on the boardwalk?
The Ripley's?
I don't know. I just remember it used to be scary. Like walking.
They have the Ripley's, believe it or not, there. It's on the boardwalk. Is that the one you're talking about?
So it would have, I wonder if it would have been something else before?
It probably would
like
have.
Something smaller?
And then they created it into that. Yeah.
Okay, since we're doing memory lane, what about, and I don't remember the name of it, but there used to be this this cheesesteak place. And a piece, I don't know if you remember, it'd be like late in the night. Like,
went there, yes.
Which one is it?
I don't know if we should be shouting out names. Are we?
Oh yeah, okay, never mind. Never mind. You know what? You're right. We are available for endorsements, but that's a whole nother thing. So okay, so there is a cheesesteak
definitely
place.
Worth the wait, but now you have to call in and stand in line again with COVID.
Oh right.
Or you can go to the window, but there's probably a block wait in order to get there. I will say it's worth it. It's definitely.
But they do have a second location in the casino.
That's right. That's right. They do.
They have expanded into the Hard Rock.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Do you all spend a lot of time in the casinos?
No.
I feel like I know, right? I feel like I remember when there weren't casinos, and I think for me, when I think of Atlantic City, that's probably the one that I think of like the most, is like the pre-casino era, when it was like your fun was, I guess, running for the jitney, or sitting outside on like grand stoops and just sitting there. And it felt like we were so high up and like watching the cars go by. I remember someone used to bring fresh fish for Gran. Like they would catch it and bring it. It was like bluefish or something. And she would put it in the sink. And I remember we used to turn the water on thinking we were saving them. And now it turns out we were probably rushing them to their death because the water they needed. But like, it's just, there's so much, I think, of my present that's informed by like my time there, and like just walking around and kind of knowing where you were. I think I kind of missed that.
Yvonne, if I can go back for just a couple of seconds, you mentioned the fish that Gran would get. I just want to reflect on that area. It's the inlet in Atlantic City where there is still an opportunity to go fishing. It's called the Wall. Peace, you know the Wall. We all know the Wall. Anybody grew up that dated, we all knew the Wall. It is what it is. But that entire area is, again, like Peace said, just being revitalized, where you can go and you can go jet skiing and you can get on the boat and go enjoy the water. And I have a boat now, so I get to understand it a little bit differently. But it is an amazing opportunity. But the inlet was truly where everything was happening at. At one time, before the casinos, our grandmother who owned the guest house, and one of the few Black women that owned the guest house in Atlantic City, she was a block away from the boardwalk, as Peace and Yvonne remember. But we would walk to the end of the boardwalk, which is now where Gardens, Basins, and that, and they would literally have fishers there. It was a fisherman's wharf in Atlantic City where you could go get the fresh fish every day. You could go get the fresh vegetables. And that's one of the things that I go to that area to remember, because there was such a dynamic opportunity of community. People were going there. People were living in that area. They would just go to the ocean for fresh fish every day. And it was pretty cool. I live in Collingswood, New Jersey, which is about 45 minutes from Atlantic City. And you can hear above me the airplanes, because I'm probably 20 minutes from the Philadelphia International Airport. So every so often you will hear this wonderful interruption of our beautiful space. I appreciate your patience. That one was pretty close.
They were dropping off.
Maybe they were trying to pick me up.
But you know what, Lorraine, you mentioned, so there was a small community though. That's the one thing I remember though. So when Gran had her guest house, there were other Black women of, I want to say a similar age, and they had guest houses. So they all had these businesses and they were supporting each other. And so if somebody needed a room and somebody else was full, they would let someone know like, okay, you know, this person needs a space, you know, you have one. So that was that network and looking out for each other. And I think that's also one of those things. I remember one of the people like doing our hair when we were like friends.
There was a lot of bartering that went back and forth. There was a lot of bartering that the women did. Because there was a community, there was a lot of bartering that went back and forth. And Peace, I know now with your business and even with mine, it's still similar to what we do now. Because today is today, and people are financially struggling. And Yvonne, you know, you and I speak about this all the time, and our businesses and our personal lives, coming back to that opportunity to still get your self-care. And Peace, I know you'll speak on this. But getting the things you need and deserve. As a nurse, for myself to say this, we still have to remember that barter system, because it's important to who we are. Whether I get tidbits from my sister who will quickly edit my page without even me asking because she loves me, or I'll shout out Peace because I'm giving a presentation to make sure you take care of your body and make sure massage is important. Grandma taught us how to do that. And she didn't teach us. She taught Peace, she taught Yvette, she taught everybody that came in our space was able to understand what that meant. And we were able to see that by all the different Black women. And shout out to the Black women who did it when nobody else was doing it.
That's right. That's right.
And did it without praise. They did it without like, without expecting anything like in return. They did it because it was like what you did and it's how you took care of each other. And it's interesting because I know, like, you know how there'll be something you want in your life or like an event or like a space or something. And so there are people who will wait for like somebody else to create this space. And I'm always saying, so like one of the reasons I write is because there's certain stories I want to read. And like right now, I'm kind of like, wow, I wish I could read stories about women my age. Oh no, the wax.
Yeah, I know. Thank you for that though. I appreciate that.
Thank you. I'm glad it wasn't just me making that up too. But oh, that's horrible though. But so like I was thinking.
Well, shout out to a Black business. There needs to be one.
I know, right? A wax museum that would just be. But
nice, yeah.
Oh wow. So I was trying to think, what was I even thinking? It's gone. See, I told you my memory is like absolutely horrible. But I think let's
talk about the beach. I want to share with you too, Yvonne. What I didn't know out of all the years hanging out down in the inlet, that they do have a museum on the boardwalk. And it talks about the history of Atlantic City. And It's really, really beautiful. And I didn't even know that all those years we hung down there in the inlet. I can't remember the name of it. But I found out about it when I was taking my travel course, and you know, we were going over different things in different cities, and it was saying Atlantic City has a thing, and I walked down there, and it's just like a whole bunch of plats, but
Okay.
it's just really beautiful to read, and it has a lot of Black history down there.
It does have a lot of
Oh,
Black
that's amazing.
And a lot of people do not know that. So when the tourists come to Atlantic City, they're all about the casinos and
Yeah.
the beach and all of that, and they never go down that far on the boardwalk unless you tell them, or unless they're staying at that hotel down there in the inlet, down by Grandma's house. But nobody knows about that, you know, and it has a lot of history, a lot of great history, you know.
Oh, see, thanks so much for mentioning that, because I would not have known. And I hope that there's a way that we that people like, I know that sometimes, oh, that's what I was talking about. So you know how sometimes there are places that exist and they think that either everyone who wants to know about us knows about us. And that's not the truth. There are people who don't know what you do, who would love to know about what you do. And I think one thing we have to do is like start talking outside of our circles and outside of the group of people who already know what we do and what we're about and why we do it. But it's just because like that museum, I wouldn't know. And they might be in there thinking, oh, I wonder, like everyone who wants to know about us knows about us. They might even have an online presence. And if not, this might be an opportunity for them to, you know, to develop that online presence, because people aren't meeting face to face in a space.
Supposedly it's supposed to have been there for like ever. Well, not ever, but like when we were hanging out, it was there.
Wow.
We didn't even know that. Like, and I was like, how did we not know that? Like,
well, in our defense, how did we not know that? Because we were going to clubs like it was a job. And if there wasn't a club in the museum,
we stopped at New York Avenue.
Exactly. But knowing about it now.
Yeah. But I'm not too sure that way. Yeah, that was a memory.
Oh, thanks so much. So one thing I quite admire about you both. So like, I know for me, if there's something I want in my life, I have no patience. And so I can't wait for someone else to do it. Like, I'm always like, oh, wow, I'd really want to see a show with women my age, like living, laughing, loving, dating, doing all those different things. I never see it. And who's going to write that story? And if someone else writes it, I really don't want certain people telling me what I want or telling me what makes me laugh or what I'm looking for, because they're wrong. But so one thing I admire about you both is that you're making your own path, that you're saying, okay, this is something I want to do, or this is an opportunity and I'm going to do it. So could you talk a little bit about each of you? And you have less time than I told you before. Because
go.
I know, right? So not that this is, you know, speed information, but you're on an elevator. And it's only 5 stories, and you have like, you know, what is that, like 60 seconds? No, but maybe like a minute or two to tell us a little bit about like what it is that you're doing and how you're creating space and, you know, doing all these things that like I admire about you, but like everyone else should know one of the things that like I admire about you all.
Well, Yvonne, thank you for that. I appreciate you allowing us for that space. It's very important to be able to share this space with beautiful, wonderful, positive Black women. The space I've created is a sex positive space. And I've done that purposely for women of color because we don't have a lot of space to talk about sex. More importantly, not just the act of sex, but about enjoying pleasure. Pleasure is such a far focused ideal that we don't utilize it in our everyday moments. And being a nurse for well over 19 years and different dynamics of what I've done, one of the things we have never talked about is how do we succeed and successfully find pleasure. And so I've created this platform to just have these courageous conversations. That's my daughter leaving.
I was like, are you in the middle of the street?
To have these courageous conversations about pleasure, and that pleasure can include sexuality and power. And it's something that's been important to me to have these conversations so that we can have a safe place. More importantly, pleasure affirming and sex positive space, which for women of color is very, very small.
Now you're online and you're doing things online and creating space. Can you tell us just really quickly about your birthday celebration coming up?
So my birthday celebration is really, again, reflectively back to the beach. I am at a space in my imagination and in my world, but I want to be surrounded by my sisters. And my sister is in the UK, But there's been so many other women that have surrounded me and encouraged me and have loved me and have loved on me, even when I didn't feel as though I deserved it. And I want that day to be just that. So it's really called Reflection and pretty much it's by the water. It's healing through the elements. And one of the elements we're healing through is water. And it's going to be about positive encouragement, just seeing our bodies, not so much the way other people see us. As women of color, we typically are not viewed in a positive light, particularly with the last video that just came out by Cardi B. We're not viewed in a positive light, and we're not given our opportunity or free space to enjoy our pleasure when it comes to sex. Enjoy our bodies, enjoy our minds, enjoy whatever we want to enjoy, and do it as ratchet as we want to. Because I twerk, I sing, I do everything, and that's okay. And we need to be able to say that. And I want to be able to tell my friends and my family and my sister just how much I love them and what I see when I see them. Because sometimes we need to hear that because we're so busy seeing what either we don't want to see or what we think others are saying of us. So I'm just going to take some time to take a mirror and just go around and just tell all the beautiful women I know what I see and how much I appreciate them.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you for that. And I love you too. And Peace, can you tell us about what you're doing?
Well, I created my own Peace Place, doing massage therapy since 2009. And I've touched on a lot of other things in life. And, you know, with the crisis that we're having now with anxiety, depression, and suicidal, and all of that, I worked in a lot of different spas for a very long time. And I decided I wanted to open up my own place, a place where people can actually come and vent and let things go. I specialize in Reiki 1 and 2. So I do send energy long distance. So healing is my specialty. I like to deal with chronic pain. And that's another reason why I opened my store not even a block from the beach, it's a half a block from the beach, because it is a healing mechanism. So I incorporate my massage along with my Reiki and the beach together. So my space is peace, like my parents named me. I am a giver, not a taker. And I love to be able to have an open space for people to be able to come to and just release all their negative energy and absorb all my positive energy. So when they walk out of there, they're feeling uplifted, rejuvenated, rethinking, ready to tackle the world. We're dealing, you know, as Lorraine said, with not only a crisis on racism, which I've had to deal with my whole life, going through 3 generations, and to see it right now, you know, revealing again, it's just very hurtful. And a lot of people are going through a lot. So for me to be able to have my own peace place, my own space that people can just come and relax, and it's not about time and it's not about money, it's about healing. I'm grateful that I've had, you know, you and Lorraine and all you women behind me, because nobody was behind me. And I did this all on my own from scratch, without any assistance. Yeah.
Sorry, just because we're running out of time, can you tell us really super quickly how people can reach you?
You can Google me at Peace Massage and Wellness. Google Peace Toledo. I'm gonna pop up. You can call me 609-892-4979. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. Guys, if you wanna just musa and relax and just have a voice, someone to listen, I'm here. We specialize in essential oils too. So it's all natural healing, guys, all natural healing.
Lorraine, super quickly, how can people reach you?
For me, I am Googleable, since all things are Googleable now. I am at 𝗃𝗃. It's P-U-S-S, Rages. I combine the word with courageous. And
is that on Twitter, Instagram?
Actually on Instagram, thank you, Yvonne. Instagram, you can also look up my email and my website, 𝗃𝗃 Conversations.
Thank you. And I'm gonna do, so I write, and I moved my family to the UK so that I could pursue a creative writing PhD and I could pursue myself. And I write about issues and places and people that I care about and characters that I want to see more of. So my book, Remembered, was published in the UK in 2019. It was longlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction. It was published in the US. Thank you. Published in the US in 2020. And I'm just going to read like a paragraph. And if you want to read more, it should be at your local library and at good bookstores and bad bookstores around the world. So
and Amazon.
You're right. Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
Only the porch is base. It has to be. Anyone fool enough to bound up the creaking wooden step, hop one-legged down the sagging porch, run around the shaky dinner table made up of splintering crates and risk toppling tin plates and wooden bowls while yelling, "Sanctuary," and skirting around a ring full of women who had spent hours baking, dusting, cleaning, and boiling, and now only wanted a minute to reflect without someone underfoot, deserves to be free from being tagged. Fair is fair. You know the rules, 𝗃𝐃𝐽𝐽 announces. No hiding in the water. No hiding near the water, I add. No getting dirty, 𝗃𝐃𝐽𝐽 says. No getting anyone else dirty. No loud yelling, no roughhousing. What can we do? Watson, always grinning, asks. Boy, with all those teeth in your mouth at one time, how do you have room for questions? 𝗃𝐃𝐽𝐽 teases. Watson flinches. 𝗃𝐃𝐽𝐽's going to count to 100. You all run and hide. We'll find you, I say. What if you don't find us before supper? Little Ivy asks. You won't eat, 𝗃𝐃𝐽𝐽 answers. So it's a horrible place to leave it, but that's where I'm going to leave it now. And part of the book, so the book is set in Philadelphia and in Maryland, but the parts of it, like the houses that I have in there, the spaces and some of the voices they remind me of New Jersey and of Grand's place and of the stories that we heard growing up. Not even what really happened, but the names, because it just seems like there's so many names we heard of that we really didn't get to know the people as people. And so with Remembered, I was able to kind of go back in my own past geographically and look at the pieces that kind of made me who I am, but also the stories, the things that I want to know more about. So I wrote about momming and how families might reconnect and forgive each other. So I write because it helps me make sense of the world and see my place in it. But thank you both so much for joining me today, for taking time out of work and for for just being here and sharing this space. And thank you everyone for joining us both in Zoom and on Facebook. And oh yeah, if you want to contact me, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, and I'm also Googleable. So thanks so much for spending the day with us. Everyone
Thank you, Atlantic City. Thank you, Atlantic City. Thank you, Atlantic City. Bye. Love you.
Love you, sisters. Thank you.
Love you, sisters. Bye.